Okay, let's jump straight into today's explainer. We are looking at a strict, objective pronunciation diagnostic. We've taken the actual audio recording from the operator, matched it up against general American English standards, and analyzed exactly where things are breaking down. We're going to give it to you completely straight. No sugarcoating, just the raw data. Let's get right into it.
So here's our baseline. We're looking at an overall score of 62 out of 100. To put that scale into perspective, a 0 is a complete A1 beginner, and 100 is native level fluency. A 62 means that baseline intelligibility is, well, it's severely compromised. We're not just dealing with the occasional slip-up here. We are seeing systemic, repetitive consonant substitutions and vowel reductions that actually disrupt what a native ear is expecting to hear.
Section 1. Critical phoneme breakdowns. Let's start from the bottom up and look at the most critical errors. Down at the absolute bottom with a score of 30, we have the L sound. It's constantly being confused with an R sound, especially in unstressed syllables. Then, right above that at a 35, is the ash vowel, the A sound. It's either being inappropriately raised or just reduced entirely into a lazy sound, which completely wrecks the clarity of front vowels. I mean, these two arrows alone are doing massive structural damage to the speaker's intelligibility.
Moving up the list of high-risk failures, the ah vowel scores a 40. The main culprit? Insufficient jaw drop. The mouth literally just isn't opening enough to let the sound out. Next, the R sound scores a 45 because it's super weak at the start of words, and in shorter grammatical words, it's just completely dropped. Then we've got the schwa, the vowel, sitting at a 55. This sound is being forced into full vowels where it totally doesn't belong or skipped entirely. And honestly, that completely breaks the natural, bouncing, rhythmic timing of American English.
Okay, shifting gears to some of the moderate and minor consonant errors. The ing sound gets a 60. It's being incorrectly swapped in for the n sound at the ends of words. Then the does sound, at 65, is actually being hyper-articulated. The speaker is forcefully inserting it at word boundaries where it definitely shouldn't be. The tuss scores a 75, mostly due to inconsistent aspiration, meaning the breathiness is just all over the place. Finally, the sa and za are performing the best, but the sa still lacks sharpness in complex clusters, and the za loses its vocalization way too early at the ends of phrases.
Section 2. Target vocabulary breakdown.
Right, so how do these isolated sounds actually affect real words? Here is the data for the bottom 10 vocabulary targets ranked lowest to highest. Look at rank number 1, right there, the word adolescence. It scores an incredibly low 20. This wasn't just an accent thing, it was a complete phonological collapse. The L was swapped, the A was reduced, and the whole final nents cluster just gone, dropped completely.
Let's zoom in on the rest of those bottom 4. Number 2, the word R, specifically in the phrase "are safe." The R sound was entirely dropped, landing at a 35. Number 3, taken, scored a 40 because the ending was literally mutated into an ing sound, making it sound like a totally different word. And number 4, show, scored a 50 because a hard D sound got shoved right onto the end of it. Keep these specific mistakes in mind, because as you'll see in a minute, they have a massive impact.
Continuing up that bottom 10 list, the word artificial scores a 60. There's just a lot of articulatory muddiness here. The speaker failed to separate the RT cluster from the sha sound. Puberty sits at a 65 because the middle of the word completely lacks structural clarity. The flap T and the burr sound just don't flow. And skepticism scores a 70. The initial sk cluster is way too separated, and the speaker is actually putting the stress on the completely wrong syllable.
Rounding out our bottom 10, we have attachment at 72. The final T was completely dropped, and the ch sound just didn't have enough airflow to punch through clearly. Loneliness scored a 75. Basically, the speaker ended up incorrectly blending the L and N sounds together. And finally, laughter scores a 78 because of a super weak F fricative and a vowel that was placed way too far back in the mouth.
Section 3. Semantic impact and grammatical distortion.
So what does this all actually mean? Why does a dropped letter or an intrusive stop matter so much? Well, because it actively alters the literal meaning of what you're saying. On the left, you can see the script's actual intention. But on the right, that is the perceived acoustic reality. Because the speaker mutated the end of taken, it sounded exactly like taking, which instantly changes the grammatical tense. Adding that stop to show made it sound like showed, and dropping the R in are safe made it sound like as safe. Without even realizing it, the speaker fundamentally changed their own text.
Which brings us to our clinical conclusion. The data here is totally objective.
Until these foundational vowel and consonant substitutions are fixed, especially mixing up L and R and sticking extra stops at the ends of words, overall intelligibility is going to remain persistently compromised. Fixing this isn't about getting some quote-unquote perfect accent. It's about ensuring your words actually mean what you intend them to mean. So, it really makes you wonder, what foundational sound might be distorting your message right now?